My husband's boys' trips for the past 4 years were actually him visiting his other family in another state, but his daughter's friend request on social media unraveled everything. I should have known something was off. Connor went on these trips religiously, every other month like clockwork, always to the same fishing cabin in Montana with his college buddies, always zero cell service, always came back with stories about catching trout and playing poker until dawn. Never any photos, though. That should have been my first clue. We'd been married for 11 years. I thought we had a good life. A house in the suburbs, steady jobs, Sunday dinners with my parents. We talked about having kids, but Connor always said he wanted to wait until we were more financially stable. I believed him. The friend request came on a Tuesday morning while I was drinking coffee. Madison Hartley wants to be friends. The profile showed a girl around 15 with Connor's exact green eyes and that same crooked smile. My stomach dropped. I clicked through her photos. There she was at a basketball game, blowing out candles on a birthday cake, posing with a woman who had her arm around Connor in front of a house I'd never seen. The captions were normal teenage stuff, but one stopped me cold. "Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad," posted 8 months ago. Below it, Connor had commented with a heart emoji. I sat frozen, coffee going cold in my hands. My husband had commented on an anniversary post for a family that wasn't ours. I went through Madison's entire timeline, 4 years of posts. Connor at her middle school graduation, Connor teaching her to drive, Connor and this woman, Veronica, at parent-teacher conferences, Christmas mornings, summer barbecues, a whole life I knew nothing about. That night, Connor came home like always, kissed my cheek, asked what was for dinner. I served him pasta and watched him eat, wondering how someone could live 2 complete lives. When he went to shower, I checked his phone. I'd never done that before. The text to Veronica went back years. Casual conversations about Madison's grades, what groceries to buy, when he'd be home. Home. He called that place home. I confronted him after dinner, just showed him Madison's friend request, and waited. The color drained from his face. He opened his mouth, closed it, then finally said, "I can explain," but he didn't deny it, didn't act confused. He just looked at me with this expression of someone who'd been caught. "How long?" I asked. "Madison's 15, he said quietly. So he'd started this other life before we even got married, met Veronica, gotten her pregnant, and decided to keep both of us. The fishing trips? I needed to see my daughter, his daughter, not our daughter, his daughter with another woman. A daughter he'd watched grow up while telling me we weren't ready for kids yet. I asked him why. He said he loved us both, said he couldn't choose, said he'd planned to tell me so many times but never found the right moment. Then he said something that made me realize how deep this went. "Veronica knows about you." She knew. His other wife knew I existed. "Does she know you're married to me?" I asked. Long silence. "No, she thinks we're divorced." So I was the secret. The other woman, except I thought I was the only woman. Veronica thought she had Connor full-time. Neither of us had the truth. I told him to leave. He grabbed some clothes and walked out. That's when I did something I probably shouldn't have. I messaged Madison. "We need to talk about your dad." She responded within minutes. "Who are you?" I sent her a photo of my wedding to Connor. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally, 1 word. "What?" I typed back, asking if we could video call. She agreed immediately. When her face appeared on my screen, I saw Connor staring back at me. Same bone structure. Same expression when confused. She looked terrified. "I don't understand," Madison said. "That's my dad, but he's married to my mom." "When did they get married?" I asked. She thought for a moment. "They had their anniversary dinner in April. They've been together since before I was born. My wedding anniversary was in June. We'd gotten married 11 years ago, which meant Connor had been with Veronica for at least 16 years. He'd juggled us both for over a decade. Madison, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but your dad is married to me too. Has been for 11 years. Her face crumpled. "That's not possible. He lives here with us. He goes on business trips sometimes, but he always comes home. Business trips, not fishing trips. Different lives for different families." "Where is your mom right now?" I asked. "At work. She's a nurse. Works night shifts a lot." That explained how Connor managed it. Veronica worked nights. I worked days as an accountant. He could sleep at her house when she was gone, then come home to me. The trips every other month were probably when he needed to be there during the day for Madison's events. Madison started crying, real gut-wrenching sobs. I wanted to comfort her but didn't know how. She was a child whose world had just shattered, and I was the one holding the hammer. "Does he have other kids with you?" she asked between sobs. "No, he always said we should wait." She wiped her eyes. "He told me I'd get a little brother or sister soon. Mom's been trying to get pregnant again." My stomach turned. Veronica was trying to have another baby with Connor, with my husband. While I sat at home believing his excuses about financial stability, we talked for over an hour. Madison told me about her life, how Connor coached her volleyball team, how he helped with her homework every night he was home, how he'd promised to teach her to drive stick shift this summer. All the things a father should do, all the things he did for her while making excuses to me about why we weren't ready for kids. "We need to tell your mom," I said finally. Madison's eyes went wide. "She'll be devastated. She deserves to know. Can we wait? Just until I figure out what to say?" I understood. She was 15 and her entire family was about to implode. But waiting felt wrong. Every day Veronica didn't know was another day Connor controlled the narrative. "One day," I said, "then we tell her together." After we hung up, I sat in the dark living room of the house Connor and I had bought together. The mortgage we split, the furniture we'd picked out, the life we'd built that was all a lie. My phone buzzed. "Connor, can we talk? I made a mistake, but I love you. We can work through this." I blocked his number. The next day at work, I couldn't focus. My boss asked if I was feeling okay. I said I had the flu, left early and drove home. Connor's car was in the driveway. He'd used his key to let himself in. "You blocked me," he said when I walked in. "Get out." This is my house too. Is it? Or do you have another house that's really yours? He sat on the couch, head in his hands. I never meant for this to happen. Which part? Getting Veronica pregnant? Marrying me anyway? Lying for 11 years? All of it. I met Veronica in college. We had Madison young. I thought I'd marry her, but then I met you and everything felt different. You were stable, responsible, everything I thought I needed. So you kept us both. I couldn't choose. Madison needed her father. Veronica needed help raising her. But I loved you. I still love you. You love the version of yourself that gets to play hero in 2 different households. He looked up. That's not fair. Fair? You've been lying to me since before we got married. You watched me cry about not having kids while you went home to your daughter. You let me think something was wrong with our relationship when the problem was you were in 2 relationships. I know I messed up. Messed up is forgetting an anniversary. This is fraud, emotional abuse. I don't even know what to call it. My phone rang. Madison. I answered. Is he there? She asked. His car's not at our house. Our house. She called it our house. The other house. The one I'd never seen. Yes. Mom just got home early. She found his other phone, the one he uses to text you. I heard screaming in the background. Veronica had found out. Connor's face went white. His phone started ringing. He didn't answer. Madison, are you safe? I asked. Mom's really upset. She's throwing things. Can you go to a friend's house? Yeah. I'm leaving now. Connor stood up, grabbing his keys. I need to go. Veronica needs me. Veronica needs you? What about what I need? You're stronger than her. You can handle this. He actually said that. After everything, he actually said I was strong enough to handle being betrayed, so he needed to comfort the other woman he'd betrayed. I watched him leave, heard his car pull out of the driveway, and I realized something. I didn't want him to come back. I spent the rest of that day going through our house with new eyes, looking for evidence of his other life. I found it everywhere once I started looking. A second wallet hidden in his desk drawer with photos of Madison as a baby, credit card statements for purchases I didn't recognize, hotel receipts from cities he'd never mentioned visiting. Each discovery felt like a fresh wound. In the back of his closet, I found a box. Inside were birthday cards from Madison, Father's Day cards, drawings she'd made as a child. He'd kept them all, hidden away like treasures he could only look at when I wasn't around. One card stopped me cold. It was for Madison's 10th birthday. The front had a drawing of a family, a mom, a dad, and a little girl. Inside, Madison had written, "Thank you for being the best dad ever. I love you so much. I can't wait until you don't have to travel for work anymore and can stay with us all the time." She'd been waiting for him to stay, believing his lies about work trips, thinking one day he'd be there full time, just like I'd been waiting for us to have kids, believing his lies about timing, thinking one day we'd start our family. We'd both been waiting for a future that was never going to happen. That night, Veronica called me. Her voice was hoarse from crying. "Did you know about me?" she asked. "No, not until Madison sent the friend request." "How long have you been married?" 11 years. Silence. Then, "He proposed to me 6 years ago. I said yes, but wanted to wait until Madison graduated high school to actually do it. I thought we had time. So he'd proposed to both of us. Married me. Engaged to her. Planning to marry her too eventually, probably with some excuse about why I couldn't attend the wedding. "I'm so sorry," I said. "Don't apologize. You didn't do this." He did. We talked for hours, comparing stories, filling in gaps. She worked night shifts at a hospital 30 minutes from her house. I worked days at an accounting firm 40 minutes from ours. Our schedules never would have overlapped. Connor had probably planned it that way. Veronica told me about the time she'd surprised Connor at work once, but his coworker said he'd called in sick. Connor later claimed the coworker was new and didn't recognize him. About the weekend trip he'd taken with college buddies, that she later found out none of them attended. About the second phone she'd discovered hidden in his car with text to someone named V, which she'd assumed was her. It wasn't. "I'm V in his phone too," I said. He'd labeled us both the same. Couldn't even bother with different initials. "What are you going to do?" Veronica asked. "Divorce him." "You?" "Same. But I'm worried about Madison. She's not handling this well. Can I talk to her sometimes? If that's okay with you?" Long pause. "Why would you want to?" "Because she didn't ask for this either. And she reached out to me first. I don't want to overstep, but if she needs someone to talk to who understands what she's going through." "Okay," Veronica said quietly. "I think she'd like that." Over the next few days, the reality of what Connor had done kept unfolding in new and horrible ways. I found emails where he'd planned Valentine's Day with Veronica on the 13th and with me on the 14th, Christmas Eve with them, Christmas Day with me and my family. He'd even scheduled his vacation days strategically so he could be at Madison's school events while telling me he was at conferences. My sister came over when she heard what happened. She sat on my couch, stunned, as I showed her the evidence I'd compiled. "I met him at your wedding," she said slowly. "He gave that speech about how you were his soulmate, how he'd waited his whole life to find you. He was already with Veronica then. Madison was 4. That son of a bitch." My sister never cursed. "How did none of us see it?" "Because we trusted him. Because we had no reason not to." She hugged me tight. "What do you need? I can take time off work, stay with you, help you pack his stuff. I need to do this myself, but thank you." After she left, I started going through Connor's belongings. Each item felt like evidence of a life I'd never really had. The cologne I'd given him for his birthday was half empty, probably used for dates with Veronica. The watch he wore every day had an inscription on the back I'd never noticed. "All my love, V. From Veronica. Not from me." I threw it across the room. Connor showed up at my door the next morning, unshaven, eyes red. He looked like he hadn't slept. "Both of you are divorcing me," he said. "What did you expect?" I thought maybe we could work something out. Some kind of arrangement. I stared at him. "An arrangement? Like what? Alternate weeks? You really think either of us wants you now?" "I made a mistake, but I'm still the same person you married." "No, you're not. The person I married doesn't exist." He was a character you played. He started crying, actual tears running down his face. I love both of you. I love Madison. I don't want to lose my family. Which family, Connor? You can't have both. Why not? People have done it before. People who are honest about it. You lied, for years, to everyone. He wiped his eyes. I'll go to therapy, marriage counseling, whatever you need. I need you to leave and never come back. He didn't leave immediately. He stood there in my doorway, looking pathetic and lost, like he genuinely couldn't understand why his plan had fallen apart. I was going to tell you, he said, eventually, when the time was right. When would that have been? When Madison graduated? When Veronica gave birth to your second child? When you drained our accounts completely? His eyes widened. You went through my finances? Our finances. And yes, I've seen everything. Those were private. You lost the right to privacy when you committed fraud. He left. I filed for divorce that afternoon. The lawyer's office was sterile and cold. I sat across from a woman named Dorothy who'd handled hundreds of divorces. She didn't even blink when I explained the situation. Does he have significant assets? Dorothy asked. We have the house, joint bank accounts, his 401k. Any proof of the other relationship? I showed her Madison's social media, the photos, the texts between Connor and Veronica, the second phone records I found after digging through our cell phone bill. Dorothy smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. He's been defrauding you financially, using marital assets to support another household. We can use that. Over the next few days, I learned things that made my skin crawl. Connor had a separate credit card I didn't know about. He'd been using it to pay for Veronica's rent, utilities, groceries, thousands of dollars every month from an account he'd opened before we got married, funded by money he told me was going into savings. Our savings account that supposedly had $30,000 in it actually had $4,000. The rest he'd been funneling to his other life. The home equity line of credit he'd taken out to renovate the basement paid for Madison's braces and Veronica's car repairs. My retirement contributions that he managed, he'd been reducing them every year, redirecting the money to an account in his name only. I'd been working full-time, contributing to what I thought was our future, while he drained our assets to fund another woman and child. Dorothy filed a motion for emergency financial relief. The court froze Connor's accounts, ordered him to provide full financial disclosure, appointed a forensic accountant to trace where our money had gone. The forensic accountant was a woman named Patricia, who looked like someone's grandmother, but had the instincts of a bloodhound. She came to my house with boxes of files and a laptop, spreading everything across my dining room table. This is worse than you think, Patricia said after her first day of analysis. How could it possibly be worse? She showed me spreadsheets. Connor hadn't just been supporting Veronica and Madison. He'd opened credit cards in my name, used my social security number to take out loans. My credit score had tanked and I hadn't even known. He's been identity thefting you for years, Patricia said. This goes beyond marital fraud. This is criminal. I felt sick. Can we prosecute? You can. Whether you should is a different question. It would be a long legal battle, expensive, emotionally draining, but he'd face consequences. Maybe. Or maybe he'd declare bankruptcy and you'd get nothing anyway. I decided to focus on the divorce first. Criminal charges later if needed. Connor showed up at my office. Security had to remove him. You're destroying me, he shouted as they dragged him out. I'll lose everything. Good. He'd taken everything from me. Seemed fair. My coworkers stared, whispered. By the end of the day, my boss called me into her office. Is everything okay? She asked gently. My husband had another family. I'm getting divorced. And apparently he committed identity theft against me. She blinked. Jesus. Yeah, take whatever time you need. Your job is safe. I appreciated that. One less thing to worry about. Veronica and I started meeting for coffee. Strange friendship born from shared trauma. She told me about her life, how she'd dropped out of college when Madison was born, how Connor had promised to support them while she finished her degree, how she'd believed him and now had no education, no career prospects, just nursing aid certification she'd gotten at community college. I gave up everything for him, she said. My education, my family. They wanted me to give Madison up for adoption or move back home. I chose Connor instead. Do you regret it? I regret trusting him. I don't regret Madison. We sat in that coffee shop for hours. Two women who'd never met before, bonded by the same liar. Other customers probably thought we were old friends. In a twisted way, we were. Veronica showed me photos of Madison as a baby, a toddler, growing up through the years. Connor was in so many of them, smiling like a devoted father. He was good with her, Veronica said quietly. Whatever else he did wrong, he loved Madison. Did he, though? Or did he love the idea of himself as a good father? She thought about that. I don't know anymore. I don't know what was real. Me either. Madison started texting me regularly. Questions about divorce, about money, about whether her dad was a bad person. I tried to be honest without destroying her relationship with her father entirely. One day she asked, did he ever talk about me when he was with you? No, I admitted. I didn't know you existed. That's somehow worse than if he'd talked about me and lied about who I was. She was right. Connor had compartmentalized so completely that I didn't exist in Montana, and they didn't exist here. We were separate worlds he traveled between. Madison sent me a photo one day. Her in a volleyball uniform, mid-jump, spiking a ball. Dad used to come to all my games, she texted. Now he misses most of them. Says he's working extra shifts to pay for the divorces. Plural, divorces. Like we were the problem. The divorce proceedings took 8 months. Connor fought everything. Claimed Veronica had manipulated him. Said he'd been trying to do the right thing by supporting his daughter. Argued that I was vindictive and cruel for not understanding his position. His lawyer tried to paint me as a scorned woman seeking revenge. Tried to claim I'd known about Veronica all along and had been fine with the arrangement until I changed my mind. Dorothy destroyed that narrative in court. Showed the judge Connor's finances, the secret accounts, the credit cards in my name, the systematic theft of marital assets. The judge wasn't sympathetic. Mr. Hartley, you maintained 2 separate households under false pretenses. You defrauded your wife financially and emotionally. You have no grounds to claim victimhood here. Connor tried to interrupt. The judge cut him off. I've seen many difficult divorces in this courtroom, but I've rarely seen such calculated deception. You stole from your wife. You lied to your partner. You created a financial house of cards that has now collapsed on everyone but you. Your Honor, if I may, you may not. You'll have your turn to speak when I'm finished. The courtroom was silent. Connor's lawyer looked uncomfortable. My lawyer looked pleased. I'm granting Mrs. Hartley's requests in full. The house is hers. She'll receive half your 401k plus reimbursement for the funds you stole from joint accounts. You'll pay alimony for 5 years. Additionally, I'm ordering you to pay her legal fees. All of them. Connor went pale. I can't afford that. You should have thought of that before committing fraud. I got the house. Half his 401k. Reimbursement for the money he'd stolen from our joint accounts. Alimony for 5 years while I rebuilt my financial stability. Veronica got child support and reimbursement for the years Connor had promised to marry her while married to me. She also sued him for fraud. Between both settlements, Connor was financially ruined, had to sell his car, moved into a studio apartment, started working extra shifts to cover the payments. He called me once after the judgment. Are you happy now? You've taken everything. You took everything first. I'm just getting back what was mine. I'll be paying these debts for the rest of my life. Good. Maybe you'll remember this the next time you think about lying to someone. He hung up. I didn't hear from him again for months. My mom called after the divorce finalized. Are you okay? I don't know. What he did to you was unforgivable. I know. But are you okay? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I'm getting there. Getting there was harder than I expected. Some days I was fine, productive, normal. Other days I'd find something of Connor's I'd missed. Some small piece of the life I thought we'd had, and I'd fall apart. I found our wedding album in a box in the garage, flipped through photos of us smiling, dancing, surrounded by family and friends. Everyone looked so happy, so certain this was forever. I threw it in the trash, then pulled it back out, then threw it away again. Couldn't decide if keeping it was hanging on to the past, or if throwing it away was erasing evidence that I hadn't been completely stupid to believe in him. My sister found me crying on the kitchen floor at 1 in the morning, the album open in front of me. Hey, she said softly, sitting down beside me. This is okay. You're allowed to fall apart. I feel so stupid. You're not stupid. You were betrayed by someone you trusted. But how did I not see it? The signs were there. I just didn't look. Because you're not a paranoid person. You shouldn't have to investigate your husband like he's a criminal. Turns out he was a criminal. She laughed. Made me laugh too. We sat there on the kitchen floor, looking at photos of a wedding that felt like it had happened to someone else. 6 months after the divorce, I started therapy. Spent sessions unpacking why I'd missed the signs, why I'd believed his lies so easily. My therapist said I wasn't naive. I was trusting, and trust was a good quality that someone had weaponized against me. But how do I trust anyone again? I asked, slowly, and by trusting yourself first. That became my focus. Learning to trust my own instincts again. To believe myself when something felt wrong instead of talking myself out of it. I went on a few dates. Awkward dinners with men from dating apps who seemed nice enough but didn't spark anything. One guy asked about my marriage. I gave him the short version. Your ex sounds like a sociopath, he said. Maybe. Or maybe he was just selfish and cowardly. The date didn't lead anywhere. None of them did. I wasn't ready. Madison graduated from high school that spring. Veronica invited me to the ceremony. I sat in the bleachers watching this girl I barely knew walk across the stage. Connor was there too, sitting on the opposite side with his girlfriend. Some woman he'd met at work who didn't know about his past. I wondered when he'd tell her, if he'd tell her. After the ceremony, Madison ran up to me, hugged me tight. Thank you for coming, she said. I wouldn't miss it. Can I ask you something? Anything. Do you hate my dad? I looked over at Connor. He was watching us with this expression I couldn't read. Maybe regret, maybe resentment. No, I said honestly. I hate what he did, but hating him takes too much energy. Do you think people can change? I think people can. I don't know if your dad will. She nodded slowly. He keeps apologizing, keeps saying he wants to make things right. What do you want? I want him to actually be sorry. Not just sorry he got caught. Smart kid. Smarter than I'd been at her age. Madison's graduation party was at Veronica's house. The house I'd seen in photos but never visited. Walking through that door felt surreal. This was where Connor had lived his other life, where he'd been a father, a partner. All while I sat at home wondering why he worked so late. The house was small, cozy, photos of Madison everywhere. A volleyball trophy case in the living room. Connor's jacket still hanging by the door, even though he didn't live there anymore. He keeps forgetting things here, Veronica said when she caught me staring. Shows up randomly to pick them up. I think he's hoping I'll ask him to stay. Will you? God, no. But he doesn't get that yet. The party was nice. Madison's friends, Veronica's coworkers, a few relatives who whispered about me when they thought I couldn't hear, the woman Connor was married to, the one who broke up the family. Except I didn't break up anything. I was just the one who refused to keep living the lie. That summer, I sold the house. Too many memories. Too many rooms that felt like lies. I bought a small condo downtown. Started over completely. The condo was tiny compared to the house. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a kitchen barely big enough for 1 person, but it was mine, really mine. Connor had never been there, had never touched anything in it. I painted the walls myself, picked out furniture that I liked, not what Connor would have approved of, hung art that made me happy, even if it didn't match. My mom came over when I finished unpacking. It's very you, she said. Is that good or bad? Good. I don't think I realized how much of yourself you'd lost in that marriage until I saw this place. She was right. I'd spent 11 years accommodating Connor's preferences. His taste, his schedule, his lies. This condo was mine alone. Dated a few people, nothing serious. Kept finding myself comparing them to Connor. Not the real Connor, but the version I'd believed in. The imaginary husband who was faithful and honest. I had to let go of that ghost before I could move forward. My therapist said grief wasn't linear. Some days I was fine. Other days I'd see someone who looked like Connor from behind and feel my chest tighten. Once I saw a father teaching his daughter to ride a bike and had to pull over because I was crying too hard to drive. I grieved the future I'd planned, the kids I'd thought we'd have, the life that was never real. But slowly, very slowly, I started building a new future, one without Connor in it. A year after the divorce, Veronica called. Madison wants to have dinner with both of us. We met at a restaurant downtown. Madison looked older, more confident. She'd gotten into college on a volleyball scholarship. I wanted to thank you both, she said, for not making me choose sides, for being honest with me even when it hurt. Veronica reached across the table and squeezed Madison's hand. I felt like an intruder on their moment. But Madison looked at me too. You didn't have to care about me, she said. I'm the proof your husband cheated, but you treated me like a person, like I mattered. You do matter. Dad doesn't get that. He keeps trying to make everything about him, his pain, his mistakes, his redemption arc. I laughed, couldn't help it. Redemption arc? He's been telling people he's a changed man, that the divorce humbled him, that he's learned from his mistakes. Has he apologized to you? Veronica asked. Madison shook her head. Not really. He says sorry a lot, but it always comes with excuses. Like he's sorry I'm hurt, but also here's why he did what he did and really, I should understand. We spent 2 hours at that restaurant, talking, laughing sometimes, crying a little. By the end, I realized something. Connor had tried to keep us separated, isolated, easier to control that way. But in destroying his own lies, he'd given us each other. Madison went off to college that fall, sent me photos of her dorm room, her volleyball team, her new friends. I sent care packages with snacks and school supplies. Veronica and I split the cost of a mini fridge for her room. It felt natural, easy, like we'd been co-parenting for years instead of just getting to know each other. Connor sent Madison money sometimes, irregular amounts, always with notes about how he wished he could give more, but the divorce had ruined him financially. Guilt trips disguised as generosity. Madison stopped cashing the checks. He wants credit without actually doing anything, she told me over winter break. It's exhausting. Connor's girlfriend left him that year. Apparently she'd found messages on his phone to another woman. Some patterns don't change. He tried to reconnect with me afterward. Sent flowers to my office with a note. I miss what we had. I threw them away. Didn't even read the card. He sent emails. Long rambling messages about how he'd changed. How therapy had opened his eyes. How he understood now that he'd hurt me and wanted to make amends. I deleted them without responding. He showed up at my condo one night, drunk, crying, saying he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. Which one? I asked through the door. I didn't open it. Losing you. You didn't lose me. You threw me away while pretending to keep me. Can we just talk? No, please, I need closure. You need closure? That's rich. He slept in his car outside my building. The doorman called the police. Connor was arrested for trespassing and public intoxication. I didn't press charges, but I did get a restraining order. The court granted it immediately. Connor was ordered to stay at least 500 feet away from me, my home, and my workplace. Madison called me upset. He's telling everyone you're being vindictive, that you won't let him move on. Do you believe him? No, but it hurts that he thinks I would. Your dad is very good at playing the victim. I'm starting to see that. Years passed. I built a new life, got promoted at work, made new friends, dated someone seriously for a while. It didn't work out, but it ended amicably. Progress. His name was Thomas, an engineer with kind eyes and a quiet sense of humor. We met at a bookstore, both reaching for the same book. He let me have it, then asked if I wanted to discuss it over coffee once I'd finished. Thomas knew about Connor from the beginning. I told him everything on our 4th date. Figured it was better to be upfront than have it come out later. That's a lot to process, he said when I finished. I know. If you want to walk away, I understand. Why would I walk away? Because I'm damaged goods. Trust issues, commitment issues, general issues. He smiled. We've all got issues. Yours just happened to be more dramatic than most. We dated for 18 months. It was good, comfortable, safe, but it never became more than that. We both knew it. Eventually, we had the conversation. I care about you, Thomas said, but I don't think either of us is in love. No, I agreed. We're not. Friends? Absolutely. We stayed in touch. Still got coffee sometimes. He met someone new eventually, a woman who made him light up in ways I never had. I was genuinely happy for him. Veronica started nursing school, actually became a registered nurse. She sent me a photo of herself in scrubs on her first day. I'd never been prouder of someone I barely knew. I'm 38 years old and just starting my career, she said when we met for lunch. Do you know how terrifying that is? You're braver than I could be. You rebuilt your entire life after your marriage ended. Don't talk to me about brave. We laughed. 2 women who'd survived the same liar, now cheering each other on. Madison called me her bonus mom sometimes. Not stepmom, bonus mom. Like I was an extra gift in her life rather than a replacement. I liked that. She started bringing her friends around, introducing me as basically family. Her friends would look confused. How was her dad's ex-wife family? But Madison didn't care about the technicalities. We were family because we chose to be. Connor faded into the background, became someone I used to know rather than someone who defined me. When people asked about my ex-husband, I'd say we grew apart. Easier than explaining the truth, less painful than reliving it. But sometimes, late at night, I'd wonder, had there been signs I'd missed? Red flags I'd ignored? Could I have known? My therapist said that was the wrong question. The right question was whether I'd learned to trust myself again, to believe my own instincts, to know that if something felt wrong, I didn't need proof to walk away. I was getting there. I started dating again, cautiously. A few dinners here and there. Nothing serious until I met Elliot. Elliot was a professor. Literature. We met at a fundraiser for the local library. He quoted poetry at me and I rolled my eyes. He laughed and said that usually worked. Not on me, I said. Good to know. Can I try regular conversation instead? We talked for hours that night. About books, about life, about everything except our past. That came later. On our 6th date, I told him about Connor. I was married for 11 years to a man who had another family. I said, just so you know what you're getting into. Elliot was quiet for a moment. Then, my ex-wife had an affair with my brother. They're married now, have a kid together. Jesus. Yeah, so I get it. The betrayal. The questioning everything you thought was real. We bonded over our mutual distrust of romance. Both of us scarred. Both of us cynical. But somehow, together, it worked. Madison graduated from college last spring. Veronica and I sat together at the ceremony, both of us crying proud tears as Madison walked across the stage. Afterward, Madison introduced us to her boyfriend, a kind-looking guy named Felix who clearly adored her. He shook our hands and said, Madison's told me so much about both of you. Thank you for being there for her. Connor showed up late, alone. He'd missed the ceremony trying to find parking. Madison's face fell when she saw him. You missed it, she said quietly. Traffic was terrible, but I'm here now. Yeah, now that it's over. He tried to join us for dinner. Madison told him we already had reservations. He asked where. She didn't answer. At the restaurant, Madison said, I don't think I want him at my wedding. When I get married, I mean. Is that terrible? No, Veronica and I said simultaneously. He's my dad. And you get to decide what relationship you want with him, I added. What if I don't want one at all? Then you don't have one. She seemed relieved, like she'd been waiting for permission to cut him out. Madison got engaged the following year, to Felix. The proposal story was sweet. He'd hidden the ring in a volleyball at one of her games. When she spiked it, the ring box fell out midair. I said yes before I even saw the ring, Madison told me over FaceTime, her hand shaking as she showed me the diamond. I'm so happy for you. Will you help plan the wedding? You and Mom? Of course. Planning Madison's wedding became a full-time hobby for Veronica and me. We met every weekend, looked at venues, tasted cakes, argued over flower arrangements. This is weird, right? Veronica said one day. Planning my daughter's wedding with my ex's ex-wife? Extremely weird. But also kind of perfect? Yeah, kind of perfect. The wedding was small, intimate. Madison wore her grandmother's dress, altered to fit. Veronica walked her down the aisle. I sat in the front row next to Elliot, who'd become my steady partner over the last 2 years. Connor wasn't invited. He sent a gift anyway. An expensive set of cookware with a note about how proud he was. Madison donated it to charity without opening the box. At the reception, Madison gave a speech. Thanked her mom for raising her with strength and dignity. Thanked me for showing her that family isn't just blood. Thanked Felix for being honest and true. She didn't mention Connor once. I saw people filming. Knew Connor would probably see it on social media eventually. Good. Let him see what he'd lost. Later, Madison found me at the bar. Do you think he's watching, somehow? Probably saw it on social media. Good. I want him to see what real love looks like. I hugged her tight. This girl who'd accidentally exposed the lie that was my marriage, who'd become one of the most important people in my life. Thank you, I whispered. For what? For sending that friend request. She laughed. Worst and best thing I ever did, right? Something like that. Connor tried to contact me one last time after that. Email this time. Long, rambling message about regret and redemption and how he'd changed, how seeing Madison's wedding had made him realize what he'd lost, how he wanted to apologize properly. I deleted it without finishing. Some stories don't get neat endings. Some people don't change. Some betrayals are too deep to forgive. But some friendships form in the wreckage. Some families choose each other. Some women survive what should have broken them and build something better from the pieces. Elliot proposed to me on a Tuesday. Nothing fancy. We were making dinner in my condo when he just asked, do you want to get married? I stopped chopping vegetables. Is this a proposal? If you want it to be. That's the worst proposal I've ever heard. I know, but I also know you don't want grand gestures or public displays. You want honesty. So here's honest. I love you. I want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me? I said yes. We got married at City Hall. Veronica and Madison came, my sister, a few close friends. No big reception, no fancy dress, just vows we meant and promises we could keep. I promise to be honest with you, Elliot said. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. I promise to trust you, I said, and to trust myself. Simple vows. But after everything I'd been through, simplicity felt revolutionary. Madison gave a toast at our small celebration dinner. To second chances, she said, and to families we choose. We all drank to that. I look at my life now. The condo I love, the job I'm good at, the partner who respects me, the bonus daughter who texts me photos of her apartment and asks for advice about marriage. Connor took years of my life, stole my trust, made me question my own judgment, but he didn't break me. I broke free instead, and that makes all the difference. I still have moments. Days when I see something that reminds me of Connor and feel that old anger rise up. Days when I doubt my instincts even though I've proven them right 1,000 times since. But those days are fewer now, further apart. The life I built after Connor is fuller than the one I had with him. More honest, more mine. Elliot knows this. Understands that sometimes I need space. That trust is something I give carefully now. He's never pushed, never demanded more than I could give. We have time, he says when I apologize for my walls. All the time in the world. Madison finished her master's degree last year, sports medicine. She works with college athletes now, helps them recover from injuries. She's good at it, patient and dedicated. She and Felix bought a house, small place with a yard for the dog they adopted. They invited Veronica and me over for dinner to celebrate. Two moms, Felix joked. Madison hit the jackpot. We laughed, but it was true in a way. Madison had lost the father she thought she knew, but she'd gained something else. A family built on honesty instead of lies. Veronica finished her nursing degree and now works in labor and delivery. She loves it. Says helping bring new life into the world feels like healing from the life she lost. We still meet for coffee monthly, talk about work, about Madison, about the strange twist of fate that made us friends. Do you ever think about him? Veronica asked me once. Sometimes. Less now than before. Me too. It's weird how someone can take up so much space in your life and then just fade. He didn't fade. We pushed him out. She smiled. Yeah, we did. Connor lives somewhere across town now. I don't know where exactly. Don't want to know. I heard through Madison that he got married again. Some woman he met online. I wondered if he'd told her about us, about his history. Probably not. Madison said she met the new wife once. She seems nice, kind of naive. Should we warn her? Madison thought about it. I tried. She didn't want to hear it. Said Dad had told her all about his past. His version anyway. Then she'll learn the hard way. Or maybe he really has changed. I doubted it. But stranger things had happened. My therapist asked me recently if I'd forgiven Connor. No, I said. And I don't think I will. Does that bother you? It used to. I thought forgiveness was necessary to move on. But now I think moving on and forgiving are different things. How so? I've moved on, built a new life, found happiness. But I haven't forgiven him because forgiveness implies what he did was forgivable. It wasn't. She nodded. That's valid. It is valid. Connor doesn't get absolution just because I'm okay now. The two things aren't connected. Last month I ran into Connor at the grocery store. First time I'd seen him in person in years. He looked older, tired. Still had that same crooked smile though. Hey, he said. How have you been? Good. You? Can't complain. Pause. I heard you got remarried. Congratulations. Thank you. Awkward silence. Other shoppers moving around us. I'm sorry, Connor said finally, for everything. I know I've said it before, but I mean it now. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Connor? That I forgive you? That we're good? We're not good. We'll never be good. I know, I just thought. I don't know what I thought. I looked at him, really looked at him, saw the man I'd loved, the man who'd destroyed me, the stranger standing in the produce section looking lost. I hope you're better now, I said. I hope you're honest with your wife. I hope you've learned something from all this. I have. I swear I have. Good. I walked away, left him standing there, went home to Elliot and told him about it. How did it feel? He asked. Anticlimactic. I thought seeing him would feel like something. Anger, sadness, something, but it just felt empty. Maybe that's growth. Maybe it was. Connor sent me one last email after that. Subject line, please read. I almost deleted it, but something made me open it. I know you owe me nothing. I know I destroyed what we had and hurt you in ways I can't undo, but I need you to know that I'm in therapy. Real therapy. Working through why I did what I did. My therapist says I have intimacy issues, that I sabotage relationships before they can reject me. I don't know if that's true, but I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to be better. Not for you. I know I lost that chance, but for myself and for the people in my life now. I don't expect you to care, but I thought you should know that your strength in leaving me, in refusing to accept my bullshit, it taught me something. It showed me what real strength looks like. So thank you. I know that's a weird thing to say, but thank you for being strong enough to walk away. I hope you're happy. I really do. See, I read it twice, then closed it, showed it to Elliot. What do you think? I think it's good he's in therapy, but his growth isn't your responsibility. I know. Do you want to respond? No. He doesn't need me to absolve him. He needs to absolve himself. I never responded. And Connor never wrote again. Years keep passing. Life keeps moving forward. Madison had a baby last year, a little girl named Charlotte. Veronica and I both cried when we met her. You're going to spoil her rotten, Madison warned us. Absolutely, we said in unison. Connor came to the hospital to meet Charlotte. Madison let him visit for 30 minutes. He held his granddaughter and cried, said she was perfect. Does she know about me? He asked Madison. Charlotte's a newborn dad. She doesn't know about anyone yet. I mean when she's older. Will you tell her about me? Madison looked at Veronica, then at me, then back at Connor. I'll tell her she has a grandfather who made a lot of mistakes, and I'll let her decide if she wants a relationship with you. That's fair, Connor said quietly. He left after his half hour. We stayed all afternoon. I held Charlotte and thought about the children I'd wanted with Connor, the family that never happened, and realized I didn't mourn it anymore. This was my family now, chosen and real and built on truth. Elliot and I talked about kids sometimes. We're older now. It might not happen, and that's okay. We have Charlotte, Elliot said, and Madison, and your sister's kids. We're not lacking for family. He was right. My sister's oldest daughter just started college. Asks me for advice constantly, about boys, about classes, about life. I tell her what my therapist told me. Trust yourself first. The rest will follow. I think about Madison sending that friend request years ago. One click that changed everything. Exposed a lie I'd been living. Destroyed a marriage that was already rotten. Best worst thing that ever happened to me. Because now I have this. A life built on honesty. A partner who respects me. A family I chose. A self I trust. Connor took a lot from me, but he gave me something too. Even if he didn't mean to. He taught me what I wouldn't accept. What I wouldn't settle for. What I deserved, and I used that lesson to build something better. So no, I don't forgive him, and I probably never will, but I also don't hate him anymore. He's just a person who hurt me once. A chapter in my story that's closed now. And I'm okay with that. I'm more than okay. I'm happy. Really, truly happy. And that's the best revenge of all.